Hey everybody! So I wanted to show you another option of making spoons that's going to utilize pinch method. So because I always tell you guys that you need to make 6 to get 2, I like to always start out with just a pound of clay here. Pound of clay will get me about 6 spoons. I'm going to block it until it's about a finger's width thickness. And then when I do my cuts for each spoon, again, I'm going to just do a finger's width. So I'm going to end up with a block that's finger's width by finger's width. And it's okay if you're a little bit less or a little bit bigger. That's not a big deal. Then from this block, my first step for my pinch is I'm going to create the actual spoon head part, and I'm just going to do that by pressing in my thumb. That's kind of my starting point. Then from there, I'm going to begin to pinch that area to kind of shape those walls. This is where you can customize and get creative with how you want to do it, how you want your spoon to look. Some spoons are more flat at the ends, some are more pointed, some have more depth to them. I like to play around with different things and kind of customize the different ones that I do. Once I've kind of got a rough shape of that, I'm going to go ahead and begin working on the handle. Again, I'm using pinch. What I want to think here is I'm going to pinch towards the neck of the spoon, and I want to move that clay down towards the handle. So each time I'm pinching and working, whether I'm pinching like I am here, it should be elongating that handle. I'm moving my clay, I'm pinching my clay that direction. So I'll alternate between pinching the sides and also pinching the top and bottom. I think this helps keep the handle pretty even and will keep you going. My goal here while I'm doing this pinching is not to get my final spoon or my exact spoon. I'm getting that rough shape. I want to get similar to, or I want to get close to what I'm looking for my final spoon, but I want some room because I'm going to be carving. Much like we did in our previous method where we rough cut out of a slab and then carved down to our shape. Same principle here, but we're creating that initial shape by using pinch method, and then we're going to carve. So just basically get that rough shape, and then I'm going to allow for my spoon to set up and dry out a little bit because I want it to be at that stage where it's leather hard. Again, think carving into a bar of soap. That's the stage I want it in, where I can lift it up and handle it and it's not going to bend. It's a little more sturdy, so I have a better chance when I'm carving of not warping the form or breaking it. So this is a piece that I've already let dry out. You can see when I pick it up, it doesn't bend. I'm able to handle it. I'm still being gentle and being aware of that. I'm also still focusing on supporting, especially that neck when I'm carving. I like to start my initial carving with a fettling knife. And it's very similar to if you're whittling a piece of wood. I use my thumb to kind of support and apply pressure, and then I'm carving towards that thumb, making small carves, and this is where I begin to initially shape and form my spoon. I like to even out the spoon head, so where the spoon would go in your mouth or go into sugar or whatever it's going into, it's nice and even, and then I work on thinning out the handles. Now I like with my spoons to go a much more raw and organic look, so a lot of my spoons, whether it's the head or the handle, I'll leave some of those carve marks, and I'll give it more that rocky organic feel, so it gives that carved look, and I really enjoy the finish of that. You don't have to. You can finish it off more to make it smooth, clean, angled. This is where you can get creative and be custom with kind of how you do it. Really big key point in this stage of carving is the support. I want you to notice the support. I'm always making sure that I'm holding my spoon in my entire hand, and I'm supporting the neck of the spoon, and then I'm also supporting the head of the spoon. That applied pressure, the most breaks that I see with students in doing these are when they just hold the spoon straight out with the handle and they try to carve the head and it snaps off at that neck or shoulder area of the spoon. That's your area where I see the most breaks. And oftentimes it's carving and it just doesn't have the proper support, or being too forceful with your carving. I know it's hard for me to show you pressure right here, but I'm not doing a lot. I'm just doing enough to carve a small sliver each time I do my carving, just a small shaving each time. This is a stage in the process where you should enjoy it. Take your time. You don't need to rush this. It does not take crazy long, but take your time with it. Get that spoon and get those areas that you want. Keeping in mind, you can always shave off more once you've shaved something off or carved something out. At this stage, you can't put it back on. Like you adding clay at this stage is just going to end in cracks and sloppiness. It's just not a great way to go with it. So take your time with it. And this is where you customize it, make it how you want it to look. This is a great stage for adding designs or carvings that you may smooth out more. Now, once I've got my handle looking the way I want it, then I go back and do kind of my final touch-ups on the head of the spoon. This is where I like to switch up tools, and I like to use some sort of small loop tool that I'm just going to go in and even out the walls. I might get some more depth on that head if I've still got too thickness. I try to even up and kind of play with the curve of the spoon. But these are kind of me just going in doing my final touches I want to do with a little more control by using a small loop. Play around with different tools. Even on the previous stage where I was using a fettling knife to do my carving, students use different tools. Play around with different things. Do what's comfortable in your hand. For me, this whole process, a fettling knife and a small loop are the two tools that I use. You could use an X-Acto knife. You can use a large loop. You can use different size loops. Even the small ribbon tools for this stage wouldn't be a bad process. But I'm just gonna go in and clean it out. Doing a few finalized touches. Again, I like that organic rustic look with my utensils when I make them. So I'm gonna leave a lot of those carve marks because I like the way it shows with the glazing and I like that feel and that look. But there, I'm all finished with my spoon. And I'll move on to my next one that's ready for carving if it's at the appropriate stage of dryness. Thanks, guys.